it is finals time. Here we go. Pinfalls all dropped. Now it's just head-to-head shootout. So the first round of matches is a 2-game total pinfall. In front of us, on lanes 9 through to 12, we have our top 4 qualifiers. So we have Jared, who was number 1, playing Beck Whiting, who was number 4. The winner of that match will get a bye in the next one, and the loser will play the winner from 5 and 8. Then on lanes 11 and 12, Min-hee Kim we have, who finished second and is playing Alicia Melton, who finished third. Again, winner gets a bye, loser plays the next round of matches. 2-game total pinfall. Beside them, we have Beck Martin playing Chris Haynes from New Zealand. And then we have George Flingus and Chris Castle playing on 5 and 6. So those 2 matches, it's sudden death down there. Loser packs up, winner moves on to play the loser from 1 through to 4. Okay, so we got a pretty even start there on 9 and 10, both with doubles. Beck's just left a 2-pin from a light shot. 11 and 12, Min-hee started with a double. On the other pairs, we've got Beck Martin started with a double, Chris Strike and a 7. You can sort of see that there to your left. And then down on 5 and 6, we had George start with a open and then a spare. And Chris has a pair of spares so far. So I'll keep you updated with their scores as we go along down there. A little bit high there from Min-hee. So Jared, who's led from the start, has bowled brilliantly, highest average by a long way. But that's all gone now. It's now head-to-head shootouts. Gives everyone a chance, puts them all back on an even playing field, and even though I think Jared is going to be hard to beat, you just never know in a head-to-head situation, anything can happen. But I think the smart money is on him at this stage. Yeah, it's a nice shot there by Jared. He's got that urethane working a treat. Beck Martin has thrown another strike, I think it was, so she's got the front 3. Chris has 3 spares running down there on 5 and 6. Chris Haynes, strike down there on lane 8, it's gone strike, spare strike. Min-hee back in the pocket there, a bit cleaner than the last one, got a little high. Very determined young man here. Looks like he's bowling and rolling thunder. He's got that look on his face again. Don't get in my way. think Beck won't worry Beck. She'll just keep plodding away. And if he slips up, she'll be there to take advantage. Don't you worry about that. 2 games total pinfall for this, as I mentioned earlier, maybe for those that have just joined us. 2 games total pinfall. Lanes 9 through to 12. That's your top 4. So winners get a bye, losers play the winners from 5 through to 8. George is trying to strike down there. Chris another 9, so he's going to have 4 spares to start their game down there. George is looking to throw a double here to get him back even in this game after starting with an open. Beck's run stopped, unfortunately, with an open. She's gone A1, but still has a little bit of a lead at the moment on Chris, unless he throws a double. Jared for number 6. Oh, there it is. Good carry. Digs that 7-pin out. I might go down the other end. She's talking into my mic. A little bit high there for Beck. Minhee with a double, going for a turkey. Could be a lefties grand final going by form at the moment. Minhee looks very good. A lot of experience. I'm sure she'll be very hard to beat head to head. And Jared's just Jared when he's in a move like this. He's just going to keep pounding that pocket. Beck makes a spare. George has thrown a turkey down there and taken the lead over Chris, who's still sparing at the moment. He's up on lane 6 now. He sort of needs to start striking and went a bit high, tripped out the 4, left the 9. Alicia needs to get a bit of a run on soon. She's spelled beautifully all weekend. And just needs those carry gods not to let her down now. She's been very accurate, just hitting pocket and a little bit light and getting great carry all weekend. Jared, little light there. Good run though. Chris is throwing that double there in the match next to him on 7 and 8. He's up on the lane now on 8 to make it 3, and that will put him in the lead against Beck after her open. No, he's left a 10-pin there. It was a good shot, just didn't quite get there. So that'll make them pretty even. With a spare, they'll be 89, Beck's 86. But with her handicap, we'll give her 94, so just a slight lead there, but pretty close. George has left a 6-pin, went a little heavy down there on lane 6. Spare to Jared. Minhee in that fantastic backswing she's got. Makes the strike. George made his spare. Chris made his spare. Chris is up on lane 5, desperate to start a few strikes going here to get back onto George, and I think that might be his first one. There it is. Needed that. George with a spare there. If Chris can throw a double, that'll tighten that match right back up again. Nothing's going to stand when you hit them like that. A little bit light there for Beck. Just pushed to the wide, a little bit wide. It's pretty tight out there. There's not a lot of recovery if you push it wide. Jared started with 6. Beck's keeping it clean and is still within 40, so you know anything's still possible. She's certainly over 2 games. You never know what can happen. So she needs to probably not get any further than that behind. Beck missed that one. Chris struck. So there's a little bit of a lead happening down there now. Chris has thrown the double. George has struck, so that match is full on. That's it's on. There's probably about 3 pins in that match between George and Chris at the moment. Alicia throws a strike. Needs to get a few more of them. Gets the next one. Gets that lead back a little bit. Here comes Jared again. Yeah, good carry. It's making a mess of my brand new pins. I've only been in there for a week and he's wrecking them. Again, Beck came up a little bit light there. She's going to have to make some adjustment there. She started the game really well. Chris gets a turkey down there. George has a double, so that match is really tight down there. There's 3 pins in it, 158 to 155. Minhee. Yes, great carry. Alicia needs to double here so she doesn't get too far behind. Mr. Langford in the hole again. First one of the 10. He's going for 279 to start. Beck can manage a bag out here. She'll only be 50 down. And against Jared, that is a lot, but if anyone's going to roll Jared, she's certainly up there to do it. So I wouldn't write her off just yet. Spare to Chris. He's got about a 9-pin lead there on Beck at the moment in that match. The other match is 3 pins in. Chris on lane 6 leaves a 7-pin, so he's opened the door a little bit. If George throws another one here. Jared's in the 270s. Beck's not giving that any room at all. A little bit tight. Chris makes his spare on lane 6. George gets up onto lane 6 now to put a little nail in the first game's coffin. That's a nasty break there for Beck. 7-10 from a pretty good shot. Awesome game there to Jared. 279. $213 to Beck. So you got with handicap. You got 58 sticks there. Probably too much, but you never know. Minhee, that's the double. George threw that strike down there, so he's looking at potential 248. Chris, 224 if he punches out. So he's got the first one of the 10th. Count there to Minhee. It's going to be a 220 with handicap 230. Alicia's going to be in the 180s. So about a 40. Nearly 50-pin lead there for Minnie. Jared gets away with a high hit. So George didn't throw the double. It's going to be a 237 with a spare, and Chris 214 with a spare. So 20 odd pins down there. In the other match, Chris Haynes is going to be with a spare and strike. Have a pretty good lead of probably around 30 or 40. Beck's had no luck in that last one, but she needs to try and finish this 10th frame out. And she's left a nasty big washout there, so she's looking at only a 140 game. Chris in the 180s. Okay, so we're into the second game there. We're changing it to put the two-game progressive total up there on the end of the screen so we can see how they're going. All matches are in the second game. They're just finishing off there on 7 and 8. Chris ended up with a 192 game. Beck's trying to make a double to get to 176 with a handicap 184, which would make it only 8 pins. So she's certainly still in the hunt. Yep, she's made the double. So that game will be within 10 pins, so that's still anyone's match for sure. Then in the other match down there, which you can't see, George has gone strike spare, Chris spare. Beck on her last shot, and it's a good strike. So she started with 3 and finished with 3, I think. My memory serves me right. So 176, 184 with handicap. So only 8 sticks in that game, so that's anyone's match. George, strike, spare, strike. Chris is just getting up now for his third shot. Jared back into the slot. Minhee all the way. That was great. Off the hand, you could pick that one. Beck again. She's been tight on that lane on a few occasions. I think she might be almost ready to concede this one and start thinking about the next match, thinking about maybe ball selection or line or something like that, getting herself settled for the next match. At least she has that opportunity, being in the top 4, to get the second chop at it. So I'm sure that she'll make the most of it, because I don't see Jared stopping anytime soon. Alicia just fell off that shot a bit. Again with her, I think she'll start to be preparing for the next match. She's given away a bit of a start to Min-hee, who looks in control at this stage. But certainly the other 2 matches is game on. George has thrown a double, but Chris has gone spare strike. He's up next on lane 6, so you'll see that on your far left side of the screen. And he's going to be trying to throw a double there to keep in touch with George in this game, and then has a little bit of deficit to try and make up. So spare start for Beck and Chris on 7 and 8. Yes, Chris threw that double down there. Another strike to Jared. Surprise, surprise. Min-hee. A little light. We can get the break there. I think Beck might have made an adjustment there, but came up a little bit short. Solid as ever for Min-hee there on the spare. Chris down there on lane 5. Nice shot. Gives him a turkey. That's a good match going on down there. George and him are throwing everything at each other. And the winner's going to deserve that one down there. It's a tight match. 6 pins in it at this stage. Both with strikes running. Might have heard a little bit of crowd reaction there. Beck got a bit of a late fall. Got the strike down there on lane 7. Jared of the Machine, Langford, again. He's getting a pep talk from the old man. It's probably upsetting him because he missed a frame. No, I'm only joking. Great supporter of Jared, Greg. He's given him every opportunity in our game, and been a big supporter of him. Beck come up a little light there, left that awkward spare down there on lane 8. Spare to Beck. Spares to Alicia. She needs to probably get a strike going now and take it off the sheet if she's going to have any chance. Open there to Beck. And Chris is working on a strike. Down the other end there, George spared the 5th frame. And Chris has spared the 6th frame. George is just about to bowl the 6th frame. So at the moment, Chris Castle is 116 in the 5th. George of his strikes will be 109. And there'll be 6 pins in that game. George has struck. Beck's moved in a little bit here. She's just starting to look around for something for the next match, like I talked about earlier. Probably that's not it, but I think she'll use the rest of these frames to try and find something, I'm sure. Beck again's come up light down there on 7 and left the 2 pin. Chris is throwing the strike down there on lane 5. So both working off strikes. Oh, 8 pin there for George. Let's tighten that game right up. George will still have the lead, but Chris will be working off the strike, and an opportunity to maybe jump George there going into the 8th frame. Looking at the matches at the moment, Minhee is going to win that match. Definitely now, 100%. I can call that one. So Alicia will be... Can you write the names there so I know where they're going? Back again, trying to that inside line, trying to find something. So Chris had an open in that last one. Gave Beck a little bit of a chance there. They're still tight there. That match is certainly still up for grabs. The one on 5 and 6 again is close. Chris didn't like that one. He's pushed that wide, left a washout. George will try and jump up, throw a strike on him here and really capitalise on that, but Chris probably needs to make that, that's for sure. So Jared's going to win this match. Yeah, Beck's back in the pocket for a strike. Beck Martin, that is. So Jared will get the bye. Beck Whiting will move forward and will play the winner of Beck Martin and Chris Hayes. Minhee will win that match and get the bye. Alicia will go through and play the winner of George and Chris. So Chris missed that washout, took 2 pins, and I'm pretty sure that was a strike by George. Yes, it was. So I think that's going to hurt Chris. He's really got to punch out here to have an opportunity to win that match. I think George has probably got 20 or 30 pins there at the moment, I think, but still possible. getting to result time there. So Jared was the winner of that match. 5:34 block to a 4:04 for Beck with a handicap. So Beck will move on to the next match, which will be on 11 and 12, and she will be playing the winner, as I said earlier, between Beck Martin and Chris Haynes, which at the moment, it's still close, too close to call at this stage. Down the other end, Chris Castle is going to lose that match and be eliminated. George will move forward, and he will play the loser of the match in front of us, which will be Alicia on lanes 9 and 10. So the only match we're sort of not sure about still at the moment is Chris and Beck Martin. So we'll keep you updated with that one. So Min Hee there, finished with 214 to Alicia's 150. Now down the other end, George has won that match, 455 series to a 415 for Chris. He ended up getting that one by 40 sticks, so he will move on. Chris Castle will be eliminated. And in the other match, it's close. It's close. We'll just have to call this out frame by frame. Chris probably really needed that one, because I think there's one pin in that match. Beck needs to make this spare, and she does. So we got total pinfall at this stage with handicap for Beck Martin is 326, and Chris is 325 at the moment. They've both got spares. So it's a 9th and 10th shootout here, one pin in it. Beck's up first. She'll really want to make this one, put the pressure on Chris. She's pulled it high. 8 count. Chris needs a 9. What have we got there? 342. Yeah, an 8. An 8 now for Chris. Will even it up pretty much. So see how he goes. There it is. Yes, it's a solid strike. Fantastic there. Needed that foundation frame. Well, that's going to come down to that first shot in the 10th now. But Beck has to make this spare, and she's a good spare player. She's always going to make that. So here we go. 10th frame shootout for that one. Chris, 345. Now Beck is at 344. One pin the other way now. But Chris has a strike. He's taking his time. He's getting up onto lane 8. Pretty much, I think, if he strikes this one, Beck will have to strike out and rely on Chris not throwing the double in the 10th. So, he's really taking his time. Probably too much in my opinion, but here he goes. Ball's going down the lane. And gets away with it. Didn't like it, but got away with it. So Beck will have to strike out to have any hope, and hope that Chris doesn't make the double in the 10th. Unfortunately, Beck hasn't made that strike, so that is game, set and match down there. Chris Haynes from New Zealand will move on to the next round, and Beck Martin will be eliminated at this stage.
Okay, congratulations to the winners there. Unfortunately for Beck Martin and Chris Hassel, they will drop out. Still a great effort, finishing in semi-final place there. So to get that far. So our next matches will be on lines 11 and 12. We will have 9, 11 and 12. On 9 and 10 we'll have George and Alicia. And on 11 and 12 we'll have Beck Whiting and Chris Haynes. Okay, your line going to play, so when you're ready, best of luck. This is a one-game match only, one-game shootout. Winners move on, losers are eliminated. Best of luck.
Okay, so we're into the quarterfinals now. We have Beck Whiting and Chris Haynes, Alicia Melton and George Felingas. Beck's to start us off. And fantastic start for her, 7-10. But better to get it out of the way earlier than later, I guess, but not what she was hoping for, I'm sure. So I'll leave you alone to watch these two matches for a little while, and we'll come back on and give you some updates. So this is only a one-game match. Only the first round was 2-game total pinfall. These are just one-game eliminator matches. Gone. Hey, we're halfway through the quarterfinal eliminator game. Come up light there for Chris. Opens the door a bit after a double for Beck. Make this spare. Which she does confidently. I think she might be in with handicap, still down a few pins, maybe not. We'll see how that what Chris can do here. In the other match, we've got George in front there, even with handicap, 10 pins in it. But George is working off a strike, so he'll be trying to throw a double. Oh, good attempt there from Chris. Open for him. So that will give Beck a slight lead there. She'll be in front and with handicap, so probably about 10 or 11 pins in front. George goes high, doesn't take advantage of that strike, but does have the lead. Alicia had a bad break there earlier with that 7-10. Certainly didn't deserve it, but so there's about 12 pins in that match there now with Alicia and George. And Beck has a 19-pin lead. 10-pin lead, sorry. She's bowled that first ball of the 7th. Alicia chops the spare. Coming back to husband Shane, looking for some inspiration is Alicia. So she's still got time. She's got 3 frames left. She needs to get on it now. It's going to be giving George a bit of start though, so it's going to be an effort.
Yeah, Laurie, in the pro shop, Laurie's got one of those tape dispensers.
Right, that's better for Alicia. She needed that one. So Alicia's going to need George to do something wrong here, and she's going to have to throw a double to have any chance. So George has not got a good break there. He's pulled the middle out of that leave and left himself an awkward spare. So Alicia really needs to strike here, and does. Makes that interesting. She's certainly coming back now, so that game is alive. The other match, Chris has had a miss in that last frame. 9-pin miss. No miss. He probably needs to strike now if he's going to come back in this match, and does. Beck makes a spare. Probably about a 20-pin game there, unless Chris strikes. George will want to have a good go at this. Oh, he's pulled the back 2 out of it. If he tried to do that, he wouldn't. So he's 166 in the 9th. With Alicia, if she gets the next 2, will be 166 in the 9th, but we'll have a double. And with handicap, take the lead. So go one ball at a time. She needs this one. She has to get this one. Well, doesn't have to get this one, but it certainly would put the pressure on George to make the 10th anyway. So Chris is washed out there in the 9th frame on lane 12, and Beck has struck. So I think we're going to see Beck moving forward to the semi-final. Alicia's gone wide on that. 9 will still keeps it interesting. Still keeps it very interesting. George is going to... George will probably only need to close. We'll just see what Alicia does. Good spare to Chris there. He's made that spare. I think it could be a little bit late for him though. So Alicia has made that spare. Potential 183 game. So George only needs a spare 8 if Alicia strikes. So close the frame and I think George is going to go through. He's made the strike. That should see the win there. For Hollywood George, as they call him. Alicia throws a 9 for a 174. George needs 7 pins with 2 shots here to win this by a stick. So I think we're going to call that match.
Okay, congratulations to George and Beck. They move forward to the semi-final. Congratulations to Alicia and Chris making a coup there and getting eliminated in the quarterfinal. So our next match will be on lane 7 and 8, Beck Lively and Minnie on 7 and 8, and on 11 and 12 will be Jared and George. Again, it's a one-game match. And once you're ready, you're going to go on to play. It's a good luck. One-game match.
Okay, it's semi-final time, and we got a beauty there right in front of us. The battle of the lefties, Jared and George. So we've got 3 lefties in the top 4. How does that work out? But what is interesting is we've got the 2 girls playing in one semi-final. We've got the 2 guys playing in one semi-final. So we will have a male-female shootout for the grand final and the winner of the 9th running of the 2019 Kegel Queensland Open. So they're underway on 11 and 12. George starts with a strike. Jared will have a 9 spare, I'm sure. And the ladies are just about to start on 7 and 8. So we've got Minhee on lane 8 and Beck Whiting on lane 7. Minhee starts a bit high, leaves a 2-4-7. Jared makes his spare, and Beck has come up light, left 2-10 and tripped the 2 out, just leaving herself a 10 pin. Hollywood George comes up short. Beck makes a spare, so the girls both started with a spare. Any money betting against this not being a strike? There it is. So the teammates from Rolling Thunder for the last 2 years going at it head to head. This might be a point to prove after last year's final when George jumped up and bowled the 10th instead of Jared. Might be a bit of payback here. Minhee with a solid 7 pin down there. Beck hopping up onto lane 8. George gave that a chance, but an open frame. Beck W, Beck Whiting up there with a strike. It's going to be a good match. 2 good matches here. Whoever gets through the grand final will certainly earn it. You know, Jared has led all weekend and you think he deserves it, but in this situation anything can happen. So he certainly got that. He's got that look in his eye. I wouldn't like to be facing him. He's got that a little tight there. Oh, that was solid. Solid 10 pin, unfortunate. That looked a little inside and a bit quick to me, and I think that's possibly why that happened. Beck on lane 7. Didn't like it, stood up on it. She's left a sleeper there. Hollywood George. Not a little high, left a 6 pin. George actually puts the med in this week. He hasn't bowled, I think, since last year. He came in on Thursday and bowled about 3 games, so that was his preparation for this year's event. Jared performing one of his trick shots, rolling a pin across the deck. George makes his spare, so we have Jared there with a little lead, but yeah, too early and too close to worry about that one. Over here with the ladies, Minhee not getting on top of herself, finding that strike line just yet. So she's got 3 spares, and just hasn't found it just yet. Yeah, there it is. That was clean, powerful. Beck on lane 8 gets her strike. George. He's gone high again. 4-7 to George. That's what he's got to do. I just don't think he's doing it. I honestly think he's a little match. A little bit Shy on match fitness, I think, George, but excellent competitor. He won't give up. Don't you worry about that. Make spare. Minhee, another 9 down there. Had a shot, went a little light still. Left herself a 10 pin. And makes the spare. So she started with 4 spares down there. She's 54. In the third, Becca's gone spare strike. Going Dutch at the moment, so she's got a little 6-pin lead, but has the opportunity of a double if she can hit that lane 7. That was better from Jared. Yes. Beck does make that double. Puts the pressure on Minhee. Finds the strike. Yeah. Minnie again, shaking 5-pin, but she's just not finding that flush pocket shot at the moment. But if she does, she's more than capable of taking it off the sheet. So Beck won't want to relax. She's got a lead, she's got the double, but anything can happen down there still. Here comes Jared. This is for 3. Looks good off the hand. Oh, climbed a bit. Probably a little bit inside, but didn't look bad. Rolled a little earlier, I think. Minhee makes her spare, as always. He goes back for 3. Oh, had the 7-10 there, but got the 7 out, thankfully for her. Jared cleans up his 6-pin. George will be desperate for a strike right about now. This is his chance to claw a little bit back. He has to make this shot. Oh, I think he's tugged that. Yeah, a little bit high. Minnie's found it. There it is. Is that the first of many? We shall see. Back on her 10-pin, makes her spare. So down there we have a 109 in the 5th for Beck, 93 in the 5th for Minhee, but she has a strike. So if she can throw another one, she'll get that back within half a dozen pins. George really needs to find something in a hurry here. You know Jared's probably not going to miss anything and more than likely throw more strikes and spares in the remaining few frames. So George is probably going to have to take off the sheet to have some sort of chance. Minhee on 8. Needs a double. And gets it. Powerful shot that. That's her strength. It's got to be close. Threw everything at it. 7-pin stood. And a strike to Beck. That's a match on down there. They're going for it now, the girls. Six pins in it at the moment, both working on a strike. Beck Whiting leading. Minhee's throwing the last 2. You just get the feeling she's going to keep throwing some more, but the old commentator Kiss of Death might just do her in. You never know. We'll see what happens. She's up on the approach on 7 now, so we'll see the ball going down the lane shortly. She's there, but leaves a 7-pin. Gave it a chance. Beck's up on 8. Now, if she throws a strike, she'll get that lead back. Oh, she's nearly done it again. Almost a 17. These are pretty new pins. They've only been in for a week, so the corners have been a bit tough. George is just not trusting it. You would think that's the end now, but it's only 20 pins, 24 pins. Minhee makes a spare. So she's 142 in the fourth, and Beck will be 149 when she spares. So 7 pins in that match, going into the 9th. George needs this one and gets it. So we're into the 8th frame on that match. I don't think I'd like to be trying to make up 20 plus pins on Jared with 3 frames to go, but anything can happen. Minhee up on the approach on 8, ready to bowl her 9th frame. Probably needs to strike here, give herself a chance in the 10th. Jared gets his strike, Minhee gets her strike. Foundation frame for Minhee. Beck will be trying to match that. And George definitely needs to match Jared's strike if he's got any chance. See if he trusts it this time. He's been tugging a little. Beck's gone high, left 610 down there. That's better from George. I think that's going to be close. And that was unfortunate. That was a good shot. A lot better shot. Just didn't dig out the 10 pin. That could be curtains for George. Right, Beck needs to make this spare and then hope that Minhee doesn't throw the first in the 10th, because that will then put her in the lead and pretty hard to run down. So Minhee's getting straight up. She's just putting pressure on her. She's cleaning the ball. She's ready to get up on that approach and try and throw that strike and put it all on Beck. Oh, George has missed the 10 pin. So that, if it wasn't gone, it pretty well is now, that's for sure. Minhee on the approach, bowling the ball. She's got there, but it was light and left a 9 pin, so she has left the door open for Beck, who needs to throw this now. Well, she's just got to match her, I guess. And sorry, yeah, I was thinking she needed to probably throw a strike, but she's just got to match whatever Minhee does. So a strike here to Beck will give her the win. It's light, it's light. 6. Wow. Minhee spares, will be 182 in the 9th. Beck spares, she will be 183 in the 9th. We'll come down to a bonus ball shot, and we could have a draw. Minhee spares. Beck has to make the spare now. George has thrown a strike, but I think it's a little late for him. Jared makes his spare in the 9th. George has a maximum of 192. Jared just needs to close. Beck has missed her spare. Minhee will go through to the grand final against, more than likely, Jared Langford. Battle of the lefties and a male and female battle. What more could you want? George throws the strike. There it is. That's game now for Jared. That gives him his win. So we'll be moving on to the grand final in a few minutes on lanes 9 and 10 with Minhee and Jared.
congratulations to George and Beck. Staying out in the semi-final, great effort. So we have a one-game shootout, male female, battle of the lefties, and they're our number 1 and number 2 seeds. So they'll be on night 2 and on the one-game winner-take-all match. Okay, your lanes are on and ready when you are. Best of luck. Give it a shot. Good luck. One game.
Here we go, grand final time. And it's the number 1 and number 2 seeds. After 1.5 million games of qualifying and stages and all that, we've ended up with the top 2. And this should be a good match. Battle of the lefties. Jared giving Minhee 8 star. She probably doesn't need it. She'd take him on scratch, I'm sure, but she's getting 8 pins and she's not going to knock him back. So here we go. Minhee's first shot. Looks good. Messenger coming across. Not quite. So we're playing for... So it's $3,000 to win this event, plus the trophy, plus free entry into next year, $2,000 for the runner-up. So there's $1,000 difference for this one game. So one game is worth $1,000. Our semi-final losers, they picked up $1,250 each. Quarterfinal losers, $900 each. And our elimination final losers, $750 each. We paid all the way down to 4th place, picking up $100 and over $23,000 in prize money. Minhee, second shot. $1,000 game. There's $3,000 to win, $2,000 for runner-up. So an early open there to Minhee. So that eliminates the handicap, I guess, if you look at it that way. So unless Jared doubles, which there's every chance of, it's we're pretty well to a scratch game then. So here we go. Jared. Been pretty well unstoppable all weekend. Had his name on this trophy since the first game. Ooh, solid 70. As we saw in the last game, and he started a little bit ordinary, 4 or 5 spares, then found it. Threw a few strikes, got himself back in the game. So that's what she'll be trying to do now, but start a little bit earlier, obviously. So she wants to get started now, but good shot. It's early days. Spare to Jared. Minhee on her spare, so Jared, small lead, early days. You just get the feeling that Jared's going to throw a heap of strikes here now. Another 7 pin. Threw a couple of pins at it, just didn't get it out. So Minhee will be trying to make this strike and then make it a double to get herself back in the lead. She needs to get the first one. That great backswing. Smooth through the ball, came up wide. Very similar to the last game. She was coming up light. And she got a little worried after that second shot on that lane where she did go heavy and leave a bit of mess. Jared makes his spare again. Jared just getting a little bit of advice here from Don Lindsay, state team coach. He's been with Jared through youth and Rockway events for years as his coach and a little bit of a mentor. So there was just a few words passed down to him there. Come back here and see if it makes a difference, and Jared can just change either a little bit of roll, a little bit of speed or something and get that corner out. One game shootout. $1,000 difference. So he got that a little higher, which I think he's probably not upset about. That. Always an easier spare, a 6 pin than a 7 for a lefty. But I think that was a better ball. I think it was a slight adjustment there. I think Jared dropped a couple of K off that, dropped it down to 100 mile an hour. Minhee, there she is. You knew that was coming. Got some crowd support here. Jared on the spare. Very safe on his sparing. So, Minhee will be looking to throw the double here and put some pressure on young Jared. Get that match back to pretty well square. If she can do that now. She's had a bit of trouble on that left lane. She's gone heavy, made an adjustment, come up light. So one would think she'd get this one right. Here it goes. Here it comes. Oh, it was a good shot. Solid 8 pin there. It's a good shot though. Should be confident there getting up on the next shot, I'm sure. Here comes Jared. He's going to want to start a few strikes here and try and get a lead. No. No, that roll. Oh, look out. Look out. There it is. There it is. You never knock back any luck. So even our score correction guy Dylan here behind the counters on Minhee's side, she's given her Jared's strike. There we go. We've corrected that. Minhee now on her spare, safe as makes her spare. 10-pin game. Jared be looking to get a strike here to build on that 10-pin lead. And if he doesn't, Minhee looking to strike and try and get that double and get back again. So a little bit of a seesaw here unless Jared makes this one. And he hasn't really looked that comfortable, so we'll see if that little bit of luck relaxes him and he throws a flush shot here. It's clean off the hand. Wow. Wow. There you go. It was flush. It was flush. But solid 9 pin. Don't ask me how something didn't hit that. Here we go. Minhee. Looks right in the lane. It's gone high. 6 pin. Still looking at about an 11 pin game now if they both spare. So it's still close. Still time for either player to win this match. Jared makes his spare. Maybe that was a bit of justice from the last one that that pin rolled around and took out his 4 pin. So a little bit of a payback from that. Minhee. Sparing, as always. There we go. Now we're into the clutch frames here. 8, 9 and 10. Final 3 frames. Jared, a past winner of the event. Oh, a little bit of loft there. And he's got away with it. Definitely hung up or he deliberately gave that a little bit more air. Not like him to do that, so I think he may have hung up on that. Minhee needs to strike now. She has to match him in this frame. You can't give Jared that much lead going into the 9th and 10th. Roll looks good. Just didn't dig the corner out. Yes, makes a spare. Just before we finish, I'd like to thank Kegel for being our long-time sponsors of this event, 9 years, and they've already committed to next year, our 10th anniversary. Try and do something a little bit special next year for our 10th, and we did give away this weekend a trip to New Zealand for the New Zealand Kegel Classic, which went to the highest place youth bowler. Young Will won that, so he'll be getting a free spot over there in September to bowl, and most of his travelling costs and everything all paid for. Here we go with Jarrow. Light, but breaks it up and gets a 9. Minhee really has to strike now. So Jared spares. So we're looking at a maximum of 2-0 down there. Minhee bags out. We're looking at a maximum of in the 190s. With 8 handicap, there is potential of a tie. But Minhee really probably, she has to get this. Oh, looked inside to me. Yes, a little high, but got away with it. Keeps the door open a little bit. Jared on the 5 pin. Wouldn't have to spare that pin very often. He makes it. Pin game. 12 pin game. Minhee with the strike in the 9th with the potential to get to 198. Jared 208. If that was to happen, it would be a 2-pin win to Jared. No, Samoa. I think that is it now. It has to be it. Jared closes this at his game, set and match. And I think he's well deserved of it. Hasn't been a high scoring final, but it's certainly been interesting. Like a little bit of a seesaw, a little bit of pressure there. Big crowd here watching. Certainly been a warm day, a lot of humidity here in in Brisbane, pretty high temperatures, so it's quite warm out there. And he makes a spare. Now, I don't want to put the kiss of death on him, but if he was to miss this and he strikes, we've got a tie. So he just needs to close this. Needs to make the spare. And there it is. Jared Langford, 2019 winner. So we'll be doing the presentation soon. I'll leave you to watch the last couple of shots. Thanks for coming on board and watching us over the weekends. Been a lot of hours of streaming, and for those that have been on a bit, thank you. And we'll see you on our next event.
Congratulations to Garrett, 2019 winner, runner-up